I know you heard me on the radio. Flexing, she loved the sound of my voice, it's the best thing. Daydreaming of the jazz all day. Pick up the phone late night with Larry K. I know you heard me on the radio. Flexing, she loved the sound of my voice, it's the best thing. Daydreaming of the jazz all day. Pick up the phone late night with Larry K.
Scarlet Knights and Scarlet Nation, welcome to another episode of Night Watch with Larry K. Guys, I'm sorry I missed 2 games. And what's sad is not only did I miss 2 games on Night Watch, I missed 2 games actually at the game. I missed the home blowout, 90-55, just taking the task of Minnesota, which, we should do. They're the, bottom team in the Big Ten. We're the second place team. You got to do that. It's what you're supposed to do, but it was still beautiful, and I wasn't able to be there to witness it. And then I missed the at MSG at the Garden of all places, where I could just take a quick path ride over there. I missed the Garden showing where Rutgers, now number 20, let me just say, now number 24th ranked Rutgers, beat Michigan State and got revenge for the first time they beat us out in Michigan, 61-55. Guys, unfortunately, I was at a wedding and I was traveling. I was down in Florida from Wednesday of last week until just yesterday, Sunday. So I wasn't able to attend either of these games in person, and I missed my episode of Night Watch. But my buddy Fox, told me, hey, I'm still expecting a recap, bro. You ain't getting out of it. And my buddy Anthony, he said the same thing. So here I am. And of course, I want to be with you guys, my subscribers. And by the way, if you have not yet subscribed to Night Watch, click the subscribe button. It's right underneath here. It's easy to do. Takes 2 seconds. Right now, just take a second, hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button and join me for more Rutgers content. Look, we are now ranked number 24 in the country. That's been a blessing and a curse for this team. Usually it's awesome just to see us ranked. We deserve it and etc. But it seems like every time we get ranked, right away we lose a game and go back to being unranked. So let's hope that trend does not continue this week, although we have some tough games coming up this week, and it is what it is. But I thought the Minnesota drubbing was the Minnesota drubbing. We played how we should play. I think we had a season high in points offensively, which you want to see. And really, I think in the second half, we ran away with that game because we were making shots, we were taking it to them, and we were doing what we were supposed to do. One of my buddies, actually a good buddy, who's one of the most loud, rowdy people you can get, was at that Minnesota game, and he was like, oh, the one game I go to, Larry can't make it. But it is what it is. But this Michigan State game, a lot of people were initially not happy that we were playing at MSG. They said, hey, look, it takes a home game away from us. And it does take a home game away from Jersey Mike's Arena, a.k.a. the Rack, which could be troublesome given that Jersey Mike's is one of the toughest places to play in the country. So taking a game away from there, especially in the Big Ten, which is such a difficult league to win in, is going to be something that makes a lot of people nervous. And I understand that, and even I was a bit nervous. I was even more nervous, or just annoyed that the Big Ten or whatever entity is responsible for this designated the game against Michigan State as a home game as opposed to a neutral site game. Obviously, if we beat an opponent of their caliber on a neutral site, it counts for a bit more in the overall analysis and seeding purposes and whatnot for the tournament come March than it being a home game. Now, there's a lot of differing perspectives on this. I understand why it's a home game. Number one, it's scheduled as a home game, whereas when we played Michigan at the Garden a few years ago, it was actually scheduled as an away game and a home game for Michigan on paper. So it was scheduled as a home game for us. And theoretically, I think it was about 80-20 in that building. And you could hear on TV, and I've heard from firsthand eyewitness accounts who were at the game, that it was 80-20 at least Rutgers fans, and it was all intents and purposes a Rutgers home game. Except, look, they had the Michigan hype stuff on the video monitors before the game. They had the Michigan cheerleaders there. They had the Michigan band there. So, and I mean Michigan State, obviously. But you have all of those things there, and to me it rings a heck of a lot like an event and a neutral site special event game rather than a Rutgers home game. So there's a lot of questions to be answered there, and I'm curious, quite frankly, as to what some of the answers are to that. I will do my best to delve into it if I have the time and maybe write a piece for On the Banks on it. But nonetheless, look, I think playing at the Garden is, and Coach Izzo said it at the end too, if he were Rutgers, he'd play at the Garden every year. I mean, look, it's good for us because it's our brand, taking our brand to New York City, where I think, Rutgers really wants to be considered the team of New York City. And for a lot of reasons, we probably should be. So going to the Garden and getting some notoriety and just showing some love to New York and to such a famous arena is probably a good thing brand-wise for the program. And it's an iconic arena, and for kids to be able to go in there and play and have maybe a good game there is probably good as well. So I thought it was and it made it an event, and it made a lot more reporting, a lot more outlets picked it up. There was a lot of fanfare around it. It was on regular Channel 5, even down in Florida, on mainstream Fox 5. I mean, it's a prime game. So, there's a lot of things to like about the Garden. I just wish they would either make it a true home game, i.e., take away all the fanfare from Michigan State, or just call it what it is, a neutral site game, and so be it if it just so happens that we bring more fans. If we play in Detroit, I'm sure that there would be more fans for Michigan State or Michigan, so, why are we doing that? But look, the story of the game, obviously, now a few days removed, and what lingers on our minds, I think, is the injury to Mawot Mag. I had been saying for a while that Mawot Mag is a hell of a glue guy, that his defense, that his energy, his presence on the boards is really one of the main things that keep this team together, especially on a team that is so much more of a, everything's a team effort with this squad, right? We don't have necessarily one standout guy, and I've said that the best games this team has shown us is when every player plays their particular role well. That's when we have our best showings, and that's how this team is set up, and that's how I think Pike likes to coach it, and that's why, where the ceiling for this team is, even though Pike said he's not much of a big ceiling guy, the ceiling is, as far as this team as a group can take us. Mawot Mag has been an integral part of this group. And I think those who were doubters early on have become believers the last few weeks because Mawot's offensive game has really started to show its prowess. And Mawot has shown, and he's grown as a player to where he knows his strengths and weaknesses. He knows when to stop and pull up and take a jumper. He knows when to pass the ball. He knows when to take the three. And him playing within himself on offense has opened a lot of people's eyes as to how good of an overall player he really is. He was really a leading force and a leading energy in the first half of that game. Finished with 7 points, 3 rebounds on 12 minutes. And then obviously he goes down with the knee injury. Now, there's a lot of speculation. When did he hurt the knee? How did it happen? I thought that I saw him tweak his knee on a fast break prior to when he actually went down. And if you watch the highlight videos that are available on YouTube, I think you can see there's a play a play or two before he actually goes down where it looks to me like he lands kind of awkwardly and maybe tweaks it. And then when he goes up, what I'm hearing is that somebody might have stepped on his heel, so when he went up, he hyperextended that knee. And that may be, it's just speculation, but that may be the source of the injury there. Pike, we don't have many updates yet, except Pike did go on Bruce Beck on Sports Final on Sunday night, and his quote, I believe, was he's going to be gone for a bit and the team's going to miss him. So to me, hearing the coach say for a bit rather than for a while, rather than for the long haul or something like that, and absent the coach saying, look, he's going to have season-ending surgery, to me that looks like maybe, and fingers crossed, we have a situation similar to Caleb McConnell earlier in the year where he's out for a couple weeks, maybe eases back in with a brace, back to full strength. That would be the ideal situation. It's not going to be easy without him. He's a starter. He's a glue guy for this team. He's a hell of an energetic force. But if we lose him for a couple weeks and we can slog through the rest of these 8 games of the Big Ten schedule, but get him back for the Big Ten tournament and, God willing, the tournament in March, that would be probably best case scenario. So we all have our fingers crossed that Mawot comes back. And I think sky's the limit for him. He's going to continue to grow as a player. And so the future's promising for him, and it's a shame because he was really coming on. But guys have to step up, and you've seen now that we have a deep team. And a lot of people at certain points would doubt Oscar Palmquist. They doubt Dean Reber. They doubt Hyatt. They doubt some of these guys. But the fact is, Pike has been telling us for 2 years, and I haven't believed it more so than I believed it this year, that this team is genuinely a deep basketball team. And you saw when Palmquist had to get minutes, and granted it was against Minnesota, But when Palmquist got minutes against Minnesota, you saw him play damn good basketball. And that silky smooth shot of his, was just going down like water through air into that net. Nothing but net, time after time against Minnesota. And Oscar Palmquist shown that he could play some minutes. He could play some minutes in Big Ten competition. Dean Reber, I know it hasn't been his best year. I think Dean was a little bit more on last year, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have potential. Doesn't mean he didn't take good minutes, too, this year in a couple games. Doesn't mean that certain matchups don't benefit with Dean. And then you got Wolf. Wolf's gone in and made an impact. Jalen Miller. I know he's not a great offensive force, but the kid can get minutes at defense. My point is this is a deep team. And now you're seeing an even deeper rotation when the play warrants it, when the matchup warrants it, when injuries dictate it. Pike goes deep into the bench, and we can play deep into the bench. And perhaps we're going to need some combination of guys off the bench rotating to make up for the loss with Mawot Mag being out for a while. And I'm looking forward to seeing what we do with it. I have faith that this team and this coach will figure it out. I do. Now, the other story of this game, in my opinion, was Paul Mulcahy, and I've said it for a while now. But when there are times when this team is going down to the wire, or where this team may be struggling to find its identity in a particular game on offense, and they need an answer, I've long said it really should be Paul Mulcahy. And I don't mean that no, you don't dish to Spencer, or no, you don't dish to Cliff. Quite the opposite. I mean, Paul Mulcahy, the offense has to be driven through him. And he will create either his own shot, or he'll create a shot for Cliff or Cam or whoever else it is. And I think you saw down the stretch that Paul Mulcahy really took the driver's seat, especially in the last 8 or so minutes of that second half, and really put the team on his shoulders and won this game. And first you saw Cliff with a beautiful, beautiful vision. Cliff had dominated. Cliff, by the way, and I'll get to him in a minute, actually. But Cliff sees Mulcahy open along the baseline for a three-pointer. Mulcahy drains it. And he's drained well-timed three-pointers at various times this year and last year, which has helped the team immensely. That tied the game, I believe, at 33. Then Michigan State jumps out to a lead again. Then you have Paul backing his defender down in the high post, getting down to the low post. He's smart. He waits on that play. He waits for the defender to leave Cliff. And then as soon as he leaves Cliff, he lobs it perfectly to Cliff. Cliff slams it, and Cliff was playing good. That kept the momentum going. And then I thought really at the end, when we needed to get some separation from the Spartans, some separation when it was a tight game still and anything could happen, we needed to get some point differential in there to close the game a little more comfortably and to change the dynamic of the game, which it did. They started having to foul shortly thereafter. Paul took the ball to the hole 2 times in a row, and he used his size and advantage and concentration to convert 2 very, very important contested layups, which put us 6 points ahead. And that was huge. Absolutely huge. I don't recall who found Caleb for the open 3, but that might have been Paul as well. Paul finished with 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 17 points, and I believe all 17 of those were in the second half. Huge, huge game for Paul, and he did what he's supposed to do as the leader of this team, as the player who can keep things under control and make things happen when not a ton is going on. A guy who can sit there and dribble out the shot clock and then take his guy to the hole using his size and athleticism to make things happen. That is exactly what you want to see from Paul Mulcahy, and we saw it. Cliff Omori. It's so tempting to say Omoruyi because of all the years playing, but Cliff, double-double. 15 points, 12 rebounds. 12 rebounds! 1 assist. That was a beautiful assist to Paul. So it's not just like a random assist. It's one hell of an assist. 12 rebounds. Cliff was a beast down low. And we've been waiting. Some games he's been dominant. Other games, we've been kind of waiting for Cliff's dominance, and we know Cliff can be dominant. And I've long said, since the beginning of the season, I've said, you can go back to my videos. Since the beginning of the season, I've said, If Cliff gets dominant down low the way we know he can be, this team can get to another level. Well, you saw it against Michigan State at the Garden. You saw it. Cliff was going up and grabbing rebounds, which he's struggled with at times. Holding onto the ball, grabbing the rebound, pulling it down strongly. He was grabbing them. He grabbed them and then goes back up and converts layups. He grabs them and makes beautiful post moves and converts shots. He grabs them and goes underneath and around the hoop and makes and converts shots. And then he's slamming it and doing well in various other ways. If Cliff can continue to rebound and score like that from down low, other teams are on notice. Other teams are in trouble. And things are looking good for us. I hope Cliff has found his stride and just continues playing like that. Because it makes a huge difference, especially the rebounds. And I'll tell you what, Mag, who's a force on the boards, with him out for a little bit, Cliff's going to have to continue to do that on the boards. He's going to have to continue to do that. So that was great to see. Cam Spencer, still not his dominant self we saw in certain stretch this year, but that's going to happen. Guys are going to have great stretches. Guys are going to struggle down the stretch, but he was back, I thought. I thought he found his touch a little bit better than he had. 5 rebounds, and again, Cam's another one. Kind of an unsung hero on the defensive side of the ball and kind of an unsung hero on the boards. He's an aggressive player, and he knows how to rebound. He knows how to box his man out and get in position. And he had 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 7 points. So it was nice to see him kind of make a return, and I think we're going to need him down the stretch to play to his potential, especially with Mag out. Caleb, 9 points, 3 assists, 1 rebound. I thought he had a solid game, especially defensively. I thought down the stretch when he hit the three-pointer and some other things he did were really beneficial to the team. Derek Simpson, 4 points, 1 assist, 1 rebound. He played a lot of minutes, but he played within himself, made a few mistakes, but he's a freshman. But that clutch, long-range jumper for 2 points was a huge shot. And that's just a taste of what he can do. We've seen what he can do. We saw what he could do against other teams. We know he can dunk the ball. We know he can beat guys off the dribble. We know he can drain long-range shots. He's just a freshman, and he's finding himself. And think back to Geo Baker as a freshman, and think back to Paul Mulcahy as a freshman, and think about how these kids looked in their build and their athleticism and the ways they matched up with, grown men in the Big Ten, in the ways they shot and didn't, and et cetera. And I think the future is extremely bright for Derek Simpson. And I thought he hit a very clutch shot, and he played clutch minutes. And Pike trusted him to play clutch minutes, which I think says a lot about the kid. And I thought he came through and did what he had to do when he had to do it as well. So all in all, good team effort game. Losing Mag right now in the season hurts very badly. But look, we've lost Caleb and we've lost Paul earlier in the season. Teams like Indiana have had multiple injuries midway through the season. Injuries happen in sports. The best thing we can hope for is that Mawat comes back in time for some of these, seriously pivotal games in the postseason or at the end of the season. And until then, we got to hope that our guys hold the fort down. Now, things don't get any easier, okay? We go up against Indiana tomorrow on Tuesday. That's ranked Indiana versus ranked 18 Indiana versus ranked number 24 Rutgers tomorrow. A pivotal game in the Big Ten. They are 1 game behind us in 3rd place. We are in 2nd place alone, but we are only 1 game ahead of several teams who are in a multiple team tie for 3rd place. So if we want to maintain breathing room between us and a very difficult onslaught of Big Ten teams who are all lurking right behind us in 3rd place, we're going to have to try to win this game on the road, and it's not going to be easy. Okay? Let's face it. Indiana wants to beat us. We've beaten them way too many times as of recent. This is a home game for them. They are hitting their stride. They just beat Purdue. They're the only 2nd team to do it. We were the 1st, and we're the only 2 to ever do it this year. They want to win this game and keep their momentum going. And I don't see and don't blame them why they wouldn't. They have this game circled, and it's at home. And you can bet those Hoosier chants are going to happen at that game. And they're going to be out for blood. And we are going to be without one of our best, most energetic glue guys in Mawat Mag. It ain't going to be easy. Can we beat them? Yeah, we've beat them many times. Will we beat them? I don't know. This is a tough game. And then you follow that game up with another road game on Saturday against Illinois. Illinois, again, a solid Big Ten team, a team that's given us trouble before. We've given them trouble before. A solid rival team. I think this might be their only crack at us this year, if I'm not mistaken. And it's on the road. They're going to want to beat us too. And remember, they're in that jumbled up tie for third place too. They're going to want to set themselves up for the Big Ten tournament and for March Madness. They're going to want to beat us. So we're ranked, and we go right into a really 2 games in a row road war with Indiana and Illinois, and it ain't going to be easy. So let's see how we come out of this week. You come out of this week 1-1, you probably hold on to second in a tie. You come out of this 0-2, you might drop to third or fourth. And then things get a little precarious going into the last couple games in that stretch, because you'd ideally like to finish as a top 4 seed in the Big Ten and get a better draw for the Big Ten tournament. Ideally. So every game matters right now. And there are some teams toward the bottom of the standings that you're going to be playing, but nothing's for granted in this league, period. A lot of these games are on the road that we finish out with. And you'd really like to come out of this week at least 1-1, but it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. So let's see what our guys can do. Obviously, you got to have faith in this team right now. They can come out of it 2-0. They're capable of it. They're certainly capable of coming out of it 2-0. If they play to their potential, they're capable of coming out of it 2-0. Will it happen? It's tough. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. No one should get too down if we have a little bit of trouble this week. It's a tough little stretch. We've come out and shown in other stretches how good we can be. There's tough stretches in the Big Ten. Let's see what we do. Then we come home, we're playing Nebraska, but of course that's Valentine's Day. This schedule's been tough, man. It's been tough for me, especially. But don't worry, I'm a season ticket holder and I will be again next year. But the schedule's been a little tough in some regards this year. Then you had, the NFL playoffs one Sunday. It's tough. But I'm looking forward to see what this team does the rest of the way, and I'm looking forward to their potential and the ceiling that they may have. And beating Michigan State and pummeling Minnesota is a great way to enter the month of February. And let's hope we can keep it up and continue. This has been a fun season so far. We've had some rough little patches, especially that damn Ohio State loss, which was really a win on technicality. And then the hangover loss to Seton Hall. The loss to Temple on neutral site, which, by the way, Temple is not looking like a terrible loss right now. But, with injuries and on a neutral site, there's some games we wish we had back. It would have made the season even better. And we would have been in even better position. But you can't dwell on the past. All you got is to look at the present and the future. And right now, Rutgers Hoops is in a great place. So let's hope they take care of business tomorrow. Let's hope they take care of business against Illinois on Saturday. Let's see what these Knights can do. Let's hope for a speedy recovery from Mawat Mag, and let's hope Cliff continues his dominance down low. Let's hope Paul continues to be that leader that we need day in and day out, and let's hope some of these other players, be it Spencer, be it Hyatt, be it Palmquist, let's hope, be it Dean Reber, let's hope these guys step up and fill that void that Mawat's leaving, and let's hope we can take care of business. I will talk to you guys after the next game. If you haven't done so yet, please do me and yourself a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button. Also, share this video, circulate it amongst other Rutgers fans. And I'll talk to you guys very, very, very soon. Go Knights. Upstream, Red Team.